today. So our first talker of the day is Ange Hammond. And Ange is from Landcare Australia. So Landcare Australia is a national not-for-profit organisation established 35 years ago that supports the landcare community through funding, capacity building on-ground projects and promoting landcare achievements. Working collaboratively, Landcare Australia enhances biodiversity, strengthens food and farming systems and fosters resilient communities. Today's speaker, Ange Hammond, grew up on, I'm going to mangle this, Kamilaroi country. I'm actually, Kamilaroi, oh my gosh, don't laugh, I'm actually from New Zealand and I still stumble over some of these names. My husband laughs at me constantly. Out near Hebel, Queensland on a grazing property. Now as Landcare Agriculture Project Manager, Ange works to connect landcare with agriculture, fostering sustainable practices and cross-collaboration. Ange enjoys advocating for producers, helping drive positive change for land and industry. Over to you. Big circle goes forward.
I'm a bit taller than Ange, can you hear me? Okay, 10 minutes and I know she'll crack me off really quickly because Ange is the best manager for this AASF. She be small but she be feisty, or fierce as Shakespeare said, but she is doing a great job with this AASF. So glad to be here stepping behind Ange. Yeah, my dream job is the Landcare Ag Program Manager. I work for Landcare Australia. When I was at uni, I actually did a whole thing for when I was at uni about Landcare. It was quite new back then and all those years ago, so I'm really glad to be working with Landcare Australia right now. So the Landcare Ag Program, basically we work on the ground with our producers. I'm just making sure, have I got one line up on that picture? Oh, not quite. Righto. Sorry, just getting the gist of things. So, very broadly, quick bit of background about the Landcare Ag Program. So the Landcare Ag Program aims to enhance the sustainability and resilience of Australian ag. It provides independent, scientifically robust information and resources, scientifically robust being very important to us. Facilitates cross-cultural knowledge sharing between First Nations and non-Indigenous producers, very also important to us. It's a very important sphere for Landcare Australia, and supports the adoption of environmentally sustainable practices while optimising agricultural productivity. And one key thing we do all work with, adapt to changing ag industry and consumer expectations. So that's the Landcare Ag Program in a very small nutshell. Just on the broader Landcare Australia activities, so Landcare Australia more broadly, our organisation works with some great corporate partners. You can see a few photos there from some of the partners we work with. So the corporate partnerships that we work with create substantial impact on biodiversity, sustainability and innovation. And all of these projects have seen great improvements on water security, habitat creation, riparian zone improvements on farm and reduced energy consumption on farms. So the Landcare Ag journey so far. So this journey started a while ago. It used to be called the Landcare Farming Program. We didn't want to be exclusive to graziers, so we've now called it Landcare Ag. No, the Landcare Farming Program was a collaboration between the National Landcare Network and Landcare Australia. So that began about 5 years ago. So that journey, as part of that journey very broadly, we ran 30 carbon accounting workshops with Integrity Ag. We've already heard that organisation mentioned a few times today. Stephen Wiedemann's doing some great work out of Queensland. So we ran those 30 workshops. We then ran 30 natural capital accounting workshops with Accounting for Nature. Out of those workshops, we touched 620 producers. The very broad, overarching feedback from those workshops and action comment statement was really that producers were generally interested in both of these topics and understood how important they were, but required greater clarity around action. That's been repeated a few times today. There's a lot of information out there and opportunities, but they just need to know more to engage. So from those desktop reviews and those workshops and the feedback to us from that, and I'm happy to share any of our information from those reviews we did because there's some really interesting stuff came out of it. But out of that, we then decided, okay, let's work with the producers and actually ground truth their questions, their key questions out of that. So we ran 13 demo projects all around Australia, covered about 300,000 hectares, with producers looking at their questions around carbon, biodiversity, or both of those things. They were well received and got some really great information once again for us. Out of the back of all of that, probably not out the back of the demo sites, in conjunction with the demo sites, we've now run 18 face-to-face workshops with Accounting for Nature looking at biodiversity. So face-to-face awareness raising workshops. I'll talk more about them in the next slide, but they basically came up, we had one group who did the desktop review and said, we'd like to know more about biodiversity. Richard Stevens from Greater Sydney LLS said, look, can we run a face-to-face? We did it. Our industry talks really well, as we all know, and then we got feedback, oh, we'd like to do one too. You know, could you support us to do one? So 18 workshops later. As well as that, our industry, it's been said today, we need to know more about our emissions on farm, and so we've had a lot of producers reach out and groups and say, look, can you support us to understand that a bit more? And so we've been lucky enough to work with Ruminati. We're not saying they're the one and only, like Accounting for Nature are not the one and only, and nor Integrity Ag, but these are good organisations doing good things and working with producers to at least understand things a bit better. So that's our work. Sorry about the busy slide, but that map shows you there's a number of maroon squares there. That's where we've run our Accounting for Nature face-to-face workshops, awareness raising workshops, one day, and they've been really well received, and it's just been getting that ecological language happening. So we all speak the language and understand that actually ecologists, like my furry friends that I work with, I'm talking about Rowan there, but people who are ecologists and people who are producers, we're often talking about the same thing, but we might use different words, and that can disempower people sometimes. But if you understand a common language and that we're all working toward a common goal, it actually supports us to take next steps. We're also working with Farming for the Future, Gulf Savannah NRM up in northern Queensland, the Grower Group Alliance over in WA, and Perth NRM. Farm Lab we've been working with around really great soils projects. So there's a Farm Lab UQ project that's now sampled over 580 properties around Australia around carbon. We've been involved with that. Those photos there, the top photograph is actually the last Accounting for Nature workshop we ran in Charleville. That was really well received. We had producers travel 800 kilometres for that biodiversity workshop. In Charleville. You know, this is the thirst producers have to understand more. The green was obviously not at Charleville, that was at Harden. The brown down the bottom, the Good Winter Feed, that was at Barfield Road Producer Group, which is also on that map. They're a fantastic producer group in Queensland that we've worked with around biodiversity. So we're really, you know, trying to reach out to our producers, listen to what they're doing, and our groups. Building ideas together, we've evolved an on-farm soil testing an extension program with Farm Lab, Tamworth Regional Landcare Group, and the Northern New South Wales Southern Queensland Drought Hub. This picture shows you a Farm Lab satellite image of a property. Those people on the screen, the top one's obviously me, but the top fellow with the black beard, that's Ned Skeen, who's a soil scientist. The middle fellow with the white beard, handy they got accredited lab, including one sample was sent to South Australia to a microbiology lab. 11 properties and about 25 samples per property later. These producers all got this great data back about normal soil, you know, NPKS, all those normal bulk density, pH, all those normal samples we get taken on farms, and the microbiology. We had to put them in a freezer bag and then we had to post them on a Monday, you know, etc. Get the data back. But then what does that mean? I used to be an agronomist. You stand on the side of a dusty cotton paddock with an inside tech test and try and talk a producer through what it means across their property. It's kind of hard. This is the best Zoom meeting I've ever been on in my life, where we had that property, and so then Wayne, the producer, could say to Ned, those rectangular white boxes show the samples and the results. What does that mean? Why is the pH up on that part of the farm so different to the pH here, etc.? One more minute, so I better go. So anyway, I can tell you more about this. It's been a really incredible process. Where to next for us? We've got an incredible reference group that we're working with at the moment to design our next steps. We're collaborating with industry. We don't want to duplicate or replicate. We're designing monitoring evaluation. We've got Leanne Sheriff in the room here today that's going to help us with that. And we're about to send out an expression of interest for groups to get involved with our next steps. And that should be me. If you need to contact me, you can actually, that QR code will allow you access to our our newsletters that come out, and the EOI will be sent to you, but please reach out to me. I've got so much more to tell, but I'll get off now. Thank you.
All right, well done, Ange. First off the rank, and you did it so well and within time. Thank you.